Well, hello there, Retro PC Derm. It's Chris here with another video. Starting off with a little bit of boomer humor that my wife placed on my desk today. Mildly amusing, I guess. A little bit of a different video that I wanted to do here. Kind of a 2020 fall inventory update video. I think really where this came from was throughout this week I've been trying to put together another PC and realized how critically low I am on certain inventory items, I'll say, for the PC donations that I get, that have put me in a position where, as of this exact moment in time, I can't actually build one of the donation PCs that I would like to donate, because I'm missing some key things. So I figured, what, why not just make a video here and show off what I currently have to make systems and vent, so to speak. So let's go take a look, shall we? Alright, so starting off with cases. I'm doing okay with cases right now. I've got one, two, move this out of the way here so I can see all of them. So we've got 1, 2, 3 perfectly fine cases for building machines into. Then I've got this old Dell PC case which has a old Pentium 4 board still in it, not suitable for running Windows 10. And then these two cases at the back here, I've got this really big full-size tower case in the back here, and then this side panel, plexiglass clear panel case, which has USB 3 port capability. So I've kind of been saving that for a more modern system board that I could, use that to build out a system. And then I happen to have one monitor at the moment, this Acer LED monitor that I have sitting around. So I'm okay right now for cases, right? I could stand to be able to build. Oh, and this one down on the corner here is a ThinkStation case that's missing the front and the handle. So it's kind of a junker case, I would say, not something that I would build for donation purposes, but if I'm holding on to it just in case I needed to build something to be able to hold a PC into, and had a case that I didn't care what it looked like. So as of this moment in time, 1, 2, 3, 4 guaranteed, or 1, 2, 3 guaranteed cases that I can use, and another 3 that I could, I can make use of if I absolutely need to. So here's our situation with system boards. I have a pair of LGA 478 boards here. It's very difficult to find Pentium 4 processors that have the execute bit disable available to run Windows 10. Then I have 3 AM2 boards, and I don't have currently any AMD processors that will support Windows 10 that will work on any of these, and I think one of them, the yellowy one here, actually has some problems where it's not working properly. Then we have this small board here, which is a cute little board, this Gigabyte board, which is an 1155 based board. It just doesn't want to work. I think, some time on a rework station would probably be helpful and do like a reflow, but it doesn't want to run properly. And unfortunately, I only have one LGA 1155 processor right now to try on this, which means it's difficult to know for sure if it's actually the system board that's the problem or if it's the processor that's the problem. And then lastly, I've got 3 LGA 775 boards, which is the most popular for me to build out these Windows 10 machines, right? Getting Core 2, Core Quad, those range of processors that are, kind of just out of the range now of being useful for modern gaming. You really got to go to the Core i. Now we're at that point really where you kind of need to. Those Q6600s have been great for a long time, but we're kind of past that day now. So I've got these boards here, and I've got one of two problems. Either I've got a board that uses DDR2 memory that doesn't seem to want to work, or I've got these boards that use DDR memory and I don't have enough DDR memory. So we'll get to showing that off when we look at the rest of the inventory here. Okay, next up is assorted keyboards and mice. So I've got a half dozen to a dozen of mice and keyboards available to me right now to use. Most of the keyboards are PS2 based, most of the mice are PS2 based as well, but with these older system boards they usually have PS2 ports anyway, which means it's okay to be able to make them work. So when I have a machine that gets put together, I'll pair it up with whatever, you know, looks the nicest or is a matched, I use the word matched set. You know, if I've got a Microsoft keyboard and a Microsoft mouse, and if they happen to be the same color, then they'll get matched up. Or whatever, you know, goes the best with the, you know, try to color coordinate it with the case. So we've got a couple of those, no worries there right now. Okay, so top shelf here is video cards. So video cards right now, I've got a pretty good assortment of low-end PCI video cards and low-end AGP video cards. I've got a couple of decent graphics cards here that I can make use of. They're older, obviously, so we've got this, what is this, HD 4870. It's a 1 gig card, but it's decent for a low-end system. I've got this, another Radeon, a HD 3850. This one's only got a half a gig of memory, but again, you know, should be okay for general purpose stuff. And a couple of, you know, older AGP cards that are, you know, to run on those some of those LGA 775 base machines. Memory, we're doing, you know, sometimes we're doing okay, sometimes not so much. Let's show off here. So this is SD-RAM. I've got loads and loads of SD-RAM. Not really a lot of motherboards that you're going to have that are going to be able to run Windows 10 that are going to use this type of memory, but I have a lot of it. DDR memory. So this is one that I'm really stuck on, right? I've got those older boards that will work, but I've only got, you know, this small handful of memory, and almost every one of these is like a 128 or a 256. I need 512 and 1 gig DIMMs. The only 1 gig DIMMs I have all have some problems. This one's got memory bit errors. This one doesn't seem to work at all. And all the rest of these are either 256s, and I think there's 1 or 2 512s. And, you know, realistically, on a 4 DIMM board, I need 4 512 meg DIMMs or more. DDR2 memory, I've got enough right now. I've got lots of 1 gig and 2 gig sticks in here to build a number of systems. That's certainly not an issue right now. DDR3 memory, as you can see, I've got, you know, two dozen or so DDR3 DIMMs, which is fine. The reason why I have more of these, obviously, is I don't come across as many DDR3 boards. And then DDR4 memory, again, I've got about a dozen sticks right now of varying sizes, 4 8s and a couple 16s in here. So I've got, for more modern memory, I'm doing pretty good. For the oldest memory, the DDR memory, which is the one I guess I use the most of, I am tragically low. So that is definitely something that I'm hoping I'm going to get some donations in the near future, that I'm going to be able to shore that up, so to speak. All right. Also in this bin here, I didn't show off, I've got, you know, a lot of floppy drives that get pulled out of systems, and then there's some, you know, old drive trays and things that have come out of various machines that are kind of sitting there. This tray here is mostly filled up with sound cards, and then there's a whole bunch of PCI network adapters, and I don't really have a huge use for those because almost every system board that I'm using already has onboard networking, so there's no real need for those cards. So I just kind of hang on to them in case for some reason I come across a board that is more modern but for some reason doesn't have integrated networking. It could happen. Okay, we take a look at the next shelf. I've got a number of things going on here. So we've got lots of heat sinks and fan blocks in here. This next box underneath has got various like CD-ROM cables and audio cables and whatnot. There's another video card here, this GeForce GT710, which is a great, just standard desktop graphics card, not meant for gaming. That I think I was using this in a system a while ago, so I still have it, obviously, waiting for the chance to use it, because I'm not going to bother selling it. These boxes here have mostly cables in them, so there's old USB cables, IDE cables, and floppy cables, and then we've got the IDE hard drives in here, of which, we'll take this out and show what we got for that right now. Oh boy, so there's the hard drives right now. I got one Maxtor 120 gig drive. All the rest of the 3.5 inch drives are all tiny. And then I've got a whole bunch of IDE 2.5 inch drives for laptops, which I have pulled out of laptops that were no longer functioning, and waiting for, if I come across any laptops that I can use that happen to use IDE and can run Windows 10, which is kind of rare. Okay, last row, power supplies. So right now for power supplies, I have 7 20-pin ATX power supplies and I got 2 24-pin ATX power supplies. One of them is here, and then the other one is actually back in one of the cases, that USB 3 capable case. I have a power supply that's installed into that I hadn't taken out. So we're doing okay for power supplies right now. On those older LGA 775 system boards, you can get away with using 20-pin power, and it usually doesn't cause any problems. So I try to hold on to the 24 pins till I absolutely need them, or I need something that's going to have those SATA connectors on it, so I don't have to use adapters. This box has a laptop in it that I believe has a dead processor that needs to be replaced, but I don't have the processor. And then I've got optical drives in here, a whole bunch of various IDE and SATA based CD-ROMs, DVDs, multi-burners, etc., wherever we need to install those into cases to fill the gaps that we don't have cover panels for them. And then top shelf here, we've got some laptops that need some work. So there is this MacBook that I received from someone as a donation that is missing a battery. I haven't had the chance to test it yet, and this will be a new grounds for me because I haven't done a MacBook yet at all. Then on this side, I'm gonna pull off these power adapters here where I have them just rudely stacked on top and show off. So I've got this HP Stream 14. It has a bad eMMC, so this is one of these, cheapo laptops that everything's kind of soldered on to the system. So it's got a 32 meg flash storage device integrated onto the system board, and it died. So I don't have the proper rework station, nor do I have a spare eMMC to replace on it. But once that would be done, the rest of the system is working perfectly fine. I've got this Acer laptop here, which is actually in fine working order. It does have the bezel's broken off the media tray on the optical drive here, but otherwise this system is actually in perfect working order and is fully running Windows 10. But I don't have an AC adapter that's compatible with this or a universal adapter to spare, so I'm kind of waiting to have one of those come up in a donation, and this will be going to the Children's Aid Foundation in Oshawa. And then I've got this Acer Aspire that got donated. This is a 17-inch laptop, beautiful laptop, but it's got no power. I think there may be some kind of short on the board. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube where people were showing that sometimes these things have like an overflow capacitor, and it can trip or blow, and once it does, it just won't let power flow through at all, and you kind of need to remove them or replace them. But again, I don't have the proper rework station to be able to look at that. But so this one's kind of sitting here because I can't send it out if it's not working at all. But otherwise, it's in beautiful condition. I guess it's maybe one of those cases where poor manufacturing quality on the side of Acer leads to a system that when it fails, it's pooched and you can't really do much with it. And the person had it for just over a year, so there wasn't any warranty left on it to get it fixed. So lesson to you. You know, buying cheap doesn't necessarily always mean you're going to get the right kind of quality that you deserve. All right, let's take a look at the last, I think, bin worth of stuff. Okay, and here we have the utility tray drawer thing. So I've got, you know, some of my work tools here I've got on top, multiple USB keys, etc. So top drawer here we've got a bunch of stuff. So first off, processors. These are LGA 775 processors, Pentium 4s, a couple of Core 2 Duos, etc. So lots of Windows 10 capable older PC CPUs. Then I've got 4 socket 478 Pentium 4 processors and one Celeron D processor. There is a 5th for this that's currently installed in a PC that I made for a Windows 98 unit. But again, all of these are unable to run Windows 10, so they kind of sit and not get used. This is the single AMD AM2 processor that I have. It is an Athlon, I think an Athlon, it might be an Athlon 64, or it's just a regular Athlon. And you know what? I think it's just a regular Athlon because it doesn't have disable bit. Then we've got here a Xeon 1607 V2. So this is an LGA, was it 2011? So this is an Ivy Bridge processor. Very good processor. I don't have any system boards to put this in, or I would definitely be putting a system together. This is a very powerful processor for running just basic desktop requirements. And then here, these are LGA, what is it? I want to say it's 11, is it 1175? A pair of Xeon E5504s. Kind of hard to see in the lighting, the reflection here. So these are Xeon processors as well. I think 2 gigahertz quad core. I want to say they're quad core processors each. So again, Xeon processors are great for converting into use in simple workstations as older systems. They do have great longevity. But I don't have a system board to be able to run either of these or both of these in to be able to make use of it. Rest of the stuff in here is just, again, some more tools. I've got a whole bunch of these SD cards and whatnot. Oh, and I do have, for storage when I come across it, a couple of M.2 smaller ones like 180s and 128s, but that's fine for where available to be able to upgrade an older, relatively older laptop. All right, next on the list here we've got this is all SATA stuff, so it's almost all 2.5-inch SATA drives. I've got some SSDs. I've got some spinners, 500, 750, and 1 terabyte drives. And then I got a couple 1 terabyte 3.5-inch drives. And then a whole bunch of SATA cables. Random cables in here. There's a couple graphics cables, DisplayPort HDMI cables, a couple of these, you know, DVI to VGA adapters, and then some extra network cables. And then lastly, we've got power cords down at the very bottom. So there's a bunch of laptop adapters, of course, none of which fit that Acer system that I would be ready to send out, except for my one universal, where are you? I've got my one universal brick. That's got all the adapters for it, but that's the only one I have, so I kind of need that to be able to work on machines when they come in. And then regular power cables as well, where I've got, you know, about a half dozen of those right now. So that's pretty much it for what I've got in terms of inventory right now. It's not a ton, but, you know, for having systems that were all donated that I can be able to use to build into new PCs, I've been doing a pretty good job recently. Unfortunately, this summer has been a little bit quiet on the front of people being willing to make donations, so I've been running a little low on supply. Obviously, if I could have more system boards would be perfect. If I could have more processors would be great. If I could have more universal laptop adapters would be awesome. And right now, the most urgent need I think would be if I could have a whole bunch of DDR memory, 1 gig and 2 gig sticks that worked. Then I could pretty sure I could get at least 2 machines up and running, if not 3. So that's just the way it is right now. I'm hoping that as, you know, September rolls around now, we're going to have people going back to school and starting things up, buying new PCs for themselves, getting rid of their old ones, finding that the one they have right now doesn't really work that well for Zoom meetings or whatever, and ready to be able to turn that one over to somebody who can find a new home for it. So that is what it is. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this little tour of my computer stuff, piles, inventory, whatever you want to call it. And if you want to let me know in the comments down below any stockpiles of things that you like to keep on hand for a rainy day, would be cool to read about. Otherwise, I hope you are staying safe and staying healthy in these strange times, and I will catch you in the next one.